All right, good evening, everybody. It's time for NXT. Let's see what happens. So we're already getting recaps from JC Jane's victory lap after beating Stephanie Vaquer. Boy, it almost feels like an eternity now since Stephanie left NXT and is on the main roster already because she's already had multiple matches now. But basically, the entire women's locker room emptied out a couple of weeks ago to be the next challenger for JC Jane. But the debuting, formerly known as Mariah May, has made her impact on NXT. Now, we still don't know what name she's going with here since they didn't actually call her Mariah May. George, good to see you. Glad you're here. And so it's been an exciting wrestling weekend between Worlds Collide, Money in the Bank, and a blockbuster Raw last night. We'll talk about all that tonight in between matches and commercial breaks. And hi, Sophie, good to see you again. Also, had some 2K uploaded earlier today, playing some of that as well, and looking to go through some more tournament play in WWE, and we will do that as well. So maybe we can talk about that tonight if you guys have any ideas as to the kind of tournaments you want me to do. So, George, when you say Ricky Saint's treatment, I assume you're talking about a name change, or are you talking about how fast she gets pushed? Because I'm sure both could be the case. But Trick Williams defeats Mike Santana with help from AJ Francis, and actually I can't remember what their faction's called or what their team is called. But yeah, Trick is still the TNA champion. We have 2 title matches tonight. We've got Oba Femi and Jasper Troy tonight, a Big E special, if you will. And then we've also got Ethan Page and Sean Legacy from Evolve for the North American title. Okay. Oh, wow. Jasper Troy attacking Oba Femi in the dreaded NXT parking lot. People always getting jumped out here. Oh my goodness. Oba Femi gets a chokeslam on a windshield. Are we still having a match tonight? That's what I want to know. Wow. Okay. And it looks like we're getting our North American title match to start the show. So, hey, Dawsey, welcome to the chat. Things have started off live. Maybe it's because I'm seeing Slim Jim everywhere on WWE programming, but that all ego banner definitely giving me Slim Jim vibes too. Hey, Dawsey. So we've got Ethan Page versus Evolve's Sean Legacy, who is not cashing in, but making the most of his number 1 contendership, getting the opportunity. So if we are getting a beaten down Oba Femi against Jasper Troy, surely they're not going to put the NXT championship on an LFG rookie in his first match. I mean, right? I mean, it's been a weird time for stuff right now. So, but if you're just joining us, Oba Femi was attacked in the parking lot before the show started by Jasper Troy and chokeslammed through the windshield of a car. And they have not yet said that we're not getting that match either. Shamanica, hey, it's so good to see you. Glad you could join me tonight as we are saddling up for NXT as Sean Legacy makes his entrance. Sean Legacy kind of got those narcissist Lex Luger vibes in his gear. Reminds me of that. Sophie, a couple of questions. You think we'll see Cena versus Ron Killings at that Clash in Paris show or something? You know, I the whole R-Truth saga has been interesting, to say the least. I'm really glad that he's back. I'm not convinced that him coming back means he's going to be reinserted into a feud with John Cena. That moment of cutting his hair last night and, going by Ron Killings, multiple reasons behind that, I think. But I do think that that whole promo was kind of a rebirth. So they could use that to pivot him anywhere else in the company. He may not chase down Cena again after that. However, I mean, Cena did mention it last night. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Sophie says A and B are still crying in the car after what happened to Jay. So yeah, I mean, we all love Jay for sure. But you know what? I still think there's good things ahead for him. Them doing Night of Champions. Do you think they'll stay away from the 5-match format with every champion defending their championship? I don't think they're going to do that at Night of Champions now. However, I do think there's a chance we get more than 5 matches, though, since it's Saudi Arabia. And they are known to pay up for things. So, Anthony, hey, man, so glad you're part of the show. Thanks for being here tonight. Dawsey says, I don't doubt anything after JC Jane took the championship off Stephanie Vicaire or Vic Way. That's Nikki Bella says. Man, it's so easy to tell on yourself in wrestling if you're not up on the product. You know what I mean? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our early insight of the night. Shamanika, I'm putting you up for everybody to see. If Oba loses, maybe he goes to Raw for the final spot in King of the Ring. I really want Cross, though. I have not even considered the possibility of Oba Femi being that last spot. You mentioned Karrion Cross, who I think is a great addition for that. Also, I don't know how close to ready Ilya Dragunov is, but I think that is a good possibility as well. Also, we just talked about him, Ron Killings. I think if it's any of those 4, Oba, Cross, Killings, or Ilya, I will be a happy camper. If it's anybody else, I'm not going to crash out or anything, but I'll probably be disappointed. Because also you have to look at that side of the bracket, right? I feel very strongly that Cody is probably going to win his 4-way match. And so whoever wins that match faces Cody. And so that makes for a really interesting set of possibilities. Unless something happens to Cody and he doesn't win. But that's just what I'm thinking, because Cody is definitely on the pathway to wanting to get a title back, wanting to get another crack at Cena. So the winner of King of the Ring obviously will get a title shot at SummerSlam. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Teflon Don, so glad you're here, man. Glad to be here. All right, well, Sean Legacy is having his way with Ethan Page, and Ethan Page is bounced out to the outside and catching his breath. And the crowd is firmly behind Sean Legacy. So catch up some more with you guys. Let's see. Yeah, okay, George, so you think Mariah is going to be fast-tracked to the NXT Championship? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that one bit. I mean, I know that Ethan Page is the current North American champion, but he was fast-tracked to the NXT title as well. So, yeah. P gave that show a 2 out of 10. Well, she might have been in her feelings, and I wouldn't blame her. But honestly, I think it was an excellent episode of Raw. Just going over some of the things that happened. Like, I mean, we got, you guys have to tell me, was CJ in the chat once we finally got a return for Bayley? We got a good Bayley return. That Cena CM Punk opening segment was really good. I thought the AJ Gable match was really good. And then Truth's promo, seeing LA Knight kind of interfere himself into the, Seth Rollins group by costing Braun Breaker the match. And then that Gunther versus Jay match, I understand that a lot of people, our friends A and B included, did not enjoy the finish of that match. But the match itself is fantastic. Ask yourself this, and I said this when I was playing 2K earlier. I don't think there has been any. I can't remember the last time that a sequence of people trading sleeper holds had me so excited as that match did last night. And so that's a real testament to the quality of that match. Really good. LA Knight and Seth Rollins for the contract. I mean, maybe, they don't do a lot of contract on the line matches. I think they've done that maybe twice, maybe 3 times since the installment of the Money in the Bank match. So it is a rarity. I know Otis lost his and Mr. Kennedy lost his. Kennedy lost his to Edge, but that was due to injury. And then I think they moved it off Otis just because I think they had cold feet. I'm trying to remember if anybody else lost a contract before they got to cash it in, but those are the ones that I remember anyways. Yeah, I still think they should move the women's tag titles down to NXT. If you're not going to have NXT women's tag titles, just move the WWE tag titles down to NXT and let the NXT women's division kind of look over it, and you can bring those champions up to Raw and SmackDown as need be. But it's clear that with the advent of the US title and the IC title, that they're pretty committed to keeping the women's divisions in the main roster as singles divisions. And I mean, that's a choice that they're making, and they have a lot of talent. So, I mean, they can afford to do it, but it really does put a damper on the tag titles. Justin, glad you're here, Justin Howling Crane. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. As our opening contest is for the North American title, Ethan Page versus Sean Legacy. And if you're just joining us now, just to catch you up, a major development in the beginning of the show, we saw Oba Femi get attacked in that dreaded NXT parking lot by Jasper Troy, the LFG winner, who's challenging him tonight for the NXT title. And not only did he attack him, he choke slammed him through the windshield of a car, which was just nasty. George, you're bringing up lots of quality teams on the main roster that could work, but I just don't think there's enough teams for a division, if you know what I mean. Like the quality of teams, like I think Michin and BFAB could get a lot of mileage out of those tag titles. So could the Secret Service. I mean, so could, like you said, Asuka and Kairi Sane. They could do that too, but there's just not enough teams for them to work with. I don't think there's enough teams on the main roster, period, men or women, outside of SmackDown, to actually have a compelling tag division that makes it look like they care. But yeah. CM Punk's the first one to win back-to-back Money in the Bank batter matches. That's what Seth can't say he did. Yeah, well, that is interesting because Seth is only the second wrestler to win multiple ladder matches, because Edge cashed in twice, but the second time he did it, he had not won the match. He won the briefcase off of Kennedy. And so it is kind of funny that Seth could potentially brag about winning the ladder match twice, but that CM Punk, of all people, are not, are the ones that is standing in his way. So I see another match here announced tonight. The Culling is taking on Briggs and Inamura. And I know they were trying to, the Culling was trying to get to Briggs tonight or a week ago. Oh man, what a reversal by Sean Legacy. It was like a reverse implant DDT of sorts. You guys remember, was it Gangrel who did the Impaler or the implant TDT? It was like a Scorpion Death Drop style, though. Not bad. Not quite a curtain call like Goldust used to do. Justin, how do I feel about Jey Uso losing? You know what? I'm not that mad at it. I don't mind Jey losing. For me, it's all about what they're going to do with Jey next. You know what I mean? because I might be in the minority about this. I don't know. I don't know where I land compared to everybody else. But I was a big advocate of Jay winning the title at WrestleMania. I was very surprised that he won the Royal Rumble. And this is a great this was a great example. Okay, real quick, Ethan Page is trying to prep the announce table here. Looks like he's going to try to put Shawn Legacy through the announce table. Is he going to go for a power bomb here? Nope, slips out. Oh, Ethan Page gets posted. All right, Shawn Legacy. Uh-oh, the count is going. Shawn Legacy. Wow. Somersault. Tope. Legacy's got to get in the ring. They're milking a count out here. Legacy springboard. Going for a springboard 450. He gets nothing. Oh, twist of fate. I think Page has got him. That's 1, 2. Ethan Page retains. All right. Solid match, though. Those guys have good chemistry in the ring. I would like to see more from these guys. Maybe get these guys at Great American Bash or something like that. But good ring chemistry. Not all that surprising that Ethan Page retains. Pretty Richie. You're welcome, man. Glad you're here. Yeah, pretty wild. Oh, Ricky Saints is here. Ricky Saints has reappeared, a wild Ricky Saints, and he looks like he's got something wrapped around his throat, that bruised larynx he has, and he is chasing after Page, just throwing bombs, still dressed kind of like The Rock. And now we're back with the ladies backstage. Fatal Influence and Ava. What is JC saying? Okay, JC's basically saying they want to have like a little relationship. JC's still throwing shade at Fallon Henley, who's standing right behind her. Oh, snap. Laney Reed, who's from Evolve, coming back to just smack JC in the mouth. I just smacked her again. Now Fallon's trying to goad JC Jane into offering up the title shot. And so now JC wants to defend the title against Laney Reed. So she's sitting there looking like Kevin Hart, like, you hit me twice. Oh my gosh. That's pretty wild. So anyway, Jey Uso. Jay is one of those guys to me that some performers in WWE are what we would call moment wrestlers. I think about Kofi Mania. I think about Daniel Bryan, even though he's a very, very good wrestler, just his time in WWE as champion, right? I'm trying to think about other, I mean, honestly, Truth a little bit now. There are people who catch feelings, they catch a vibe with the WWE universe. And all of a sudden they get wildly popular out of nowhere. And at that point, creative has a choice to make. They can choose to ride the wave of crowd support, pull the trigger on it, and do something about it. And then let's say they do choose to ride the wave and ride that wave of crowd support, give the fans what they want, put their money where their mouth is when they say things like, we hear you, we listen to you. If they make that change and someone wins a title, then they have to look at themselves and say, well, this person wasn't in our initial plans, maybe, or maybe they were, but they start to evaluate how that decision goes. And then they say, was giving the fans that moment enough? Or do we stay the course with them? And I think Jey Uso is a good example of them determining that giving the fans that moment was enough. So I call those guys moment wrestlers. And that's not disrespect, because moments are the things you remember as a fan. Everybody of a certain age remembers WrestleMania 30 and the Miracle on Bourbon Street. I remember Ricky Steamboat winning the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 3. I remember lots of things about wrestling, and not just the guys who had the long title reigns. Wrestling is very much about moments that you remember forever. And Ric Flair winning the 92 Royal Rumble, these are all moment things. And even if they didn't have super long title reigns. And so I don't think Jay losing the title back to Gunther is as bad as some people might feel it is. I'm not going to argue against people who disagree. It's fine if the guy that you liked isn't champion anymore and you feel some kind of way about it. That's fine. That's part of being a fan. However, for me, I think what they did was enough. And I will say this. I think Jay has absolutely proven that, let me see if I've got anybody I can compare to. I'm not going to dig through my toys right now to do visual aids, but I will just say this. I think Jey Uso, and I mean this as a compliment, has established this sort of British Bulldog, Jake the Snake, Coco Beware, trying to think of other Junkyard Dog type wrestlers, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, all these kinds of guys who were never like the title guy, but they were so over and popular with the fans for who they were that they always had a place. You know what I mean? They were beloved, they were accepted, and they were kind of made men. You know what I mean? They were a part of the wrestling landscape of their time. So I think Jay has done more than enough to prove that he deserves to be an established singles act now going forward. But he doesn't. He honestly doesn't need. I don't think Jay needs the belt anymore. I wouldn't have said that in January. When he lost the Intercontinental title back to Braun Breaker. Sol Ruka and Zarya talking backstage earlier today. I'm not actually paying a lot of attention here. Lash Legend in the background talking junk to, looks like Ren Sinclair, maybe somebody else. But anyways, Ren Sinclair, and I think Carmen Petrovich. Oh, and Kalani Jordan. All right, so all these ladies still arguing. Nevertheless, I think Jay is a made man as a singles competitor, and I think that now that he's won the Royal Rumble and won the world title at WrestleMania, he doesn't need a belt anymore because we've done that for him. The crowd has had that moment. And if he gets mega over again, like an undeniable level of over, then yeah, sure, he can get another reign. He kind of strikes me as the Macho Man in a way. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Jay. If I'm making sense to you guys, whether you agree with me or not. I'm going to come back and look. Pretty Richie, you had some comments. I'll come back and look at that in a second. Revisiting Izzy Dame cracking Jensen across the back in the chair. Okay, well, Izzy's definitely getting trigger happy with the culling and doing work that Sean and Didn't go. Wouldn't do. So they got Briggs and Nomura tonight. I absolutely think Izzy Dame might be trying to turn either Briggs or Inamura. That's actually a pretty decent transition from her backstage to her live in the arena. Interesting. All right. Well, the Culling is making their entrance against, and they'll be facing Briggs and Inamura tonight. Who you got for that match? Let's see. All right. So Pretty Richie said, Bubba said something on Busted Open that really stood out to me. Jay didn't feel like a world champion. He felt like a guy that won the world title. I think that's another way of communicating what I was saying about him being kind of a moment wrestler. Yeah, exactly. Pretty Richie. I agree with him. It was more about the moment of Jay winning the title than the reign. Yeah. It would have been harder to figure out what to do with Gunther if he lost than Jay. Yeah. I mean, Gunther is he is an old school, like much more fearsome when he's got the belt kind of wrestler. Speaking of Jay losing the championship, I checked on Rikishi. I know. I'm waiting for that podcast to drop, dude. He's gonna be so ill. Let's see. Jay was involved in so many feuds at the same time. You knew it was going to come back to haunt him at some point. Yeah. Well, and that was the story of his reign, right? Was that he was so loyal as a friend that that came back to bite him. Hey, AAA is here. Psycho Clown and Octagon are here. Now, God bless those two guys. They wrestled great, but where's the star? Where's Mr. Iguana? You all know we were looking for Mr. Iguana. You think Jensen is going to cost the culling, George? Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many people still see Jay as a tag wrestler. I think Jay just got a lot of unwarranted hate. I think he's fine as a singles wrestler now. I don't know that he's long-term world champion material. I think this was a good run for him. It was brief. And honestly, yeah. He's not the champion guy for me long term. Oh man. All right, tag into Spears. With Spears and Inamura in the ring. Man, big chop by Spears. Justin, the main event is supposed to be Obafemi versus Jasper Troy, the guy from LFG, for the NXT Championship. However, Jasper Troy attacked Obafemi in the parking lot at the beginning of the show and choke slammed him through the windshield of a car. And we do not have an update yet as to whether or not that match is still on. Vic Joseph just mentioned on commentary they're still awaiting to try to find out. And Inamura's chest is red. Inamura's got this crowd hot, man. What growth Inamura has gotten, by the way, too, in NXT, or how well he's connected over time with the NXT faithful. Him and Hank and Tank both have really kind of like, what do you want to say? Like connected themselves with a lot of us. Shamanica thinks all the champs are going to retain. I mean, I honestly think that's a pretty safe bet. I don't think any of those guys make any sense to win, but they have absolutely got me thinking about Obafemi and Jasper Troy. Though I could see the thing is, if it was anybody else other than Jasper Troy, I could have seen that play out differently, you know. But especially if Oba was headed for the main roster, kind of like what we saw with Stephanie Vaquer. Pretty Richie, you're absolutely right. It's kind of counterproductive to ruin his title shot. So, yeah, Sophie, you're right about that. Sophie points out that about Jay's title reign, we never really did see Roman acknowledge, so to speak, Jay as a world champion. which I think was really wasted, to be honest. They absolutely had a golden opportunity for Roman to further legitimize Jay as a champion, and why he didn't show up during that segment where Sammy showed up to congratulate him just absolutely drives me nuts. Like, he absolutely should have been there to congratulate him, and it wouldn't have taken much either. All right, Nico Vance, which is the most WWE creative name I think I've ever heard. Nico Vance sounds like a Grand Theft Auto character. Tags into Spears, who's making eyes and faces at Inamura, taunting him now. Stole his taunt. But wasted too much time. Now Briggs throwing back. All right, Briggs tags into Inamura. Boom. Tackles on Spears. Now he's got shots for Vance, too. Inamura, hot tag House of Fire, man. Okay. Man, sumo style strikes. And now Inamura with chops in the corner. Charging from the corner. Avalanche, baby. Oh, blind tag. There's a blind tag. Nico Vance is the legal man, but no one knows. Oh, man. Huge big boot by Briggs. But now Briggs is the legal man with Vance, but Briggs taking him down anyways. That blind tag didn't really do much of anything. Oh, man. Dude, Inamura is going hard tonight. He is throwing Spears everything he's got. Briggs was just standing up on the top rope. I don't know. He's waiting for. And then a dominator by Nico Vance after hitting him off the top. And that's 3 for the culling, man. I guess that blind tag paid off, but they waited way too long to kind of execute the logic behind that. Also, Izzy Dame says she's got her eye on somebody, but she was a non-factor in that match. So maybe that's coming later in the show. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. All right. The glamour has arrived. So we're going to have the former Mariah May up next after the commercial break. I think Vic said contract signing, so maybe we'll find the name now. I think we might see Cena versus Roman 3 or 4 at some point? Yeah, I mean, we're halfway through the Cena tour, right? And Punk is on the list. Cody's probably on the list again at some point. Janet January incoming. I just want to call her It's Gonna Be May. But hopefully it's nothing too much of a departure. Watch it be like Mariah March or something. Janet January. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should get Cena Roman again before it's all over. But it really, I mean, I think that depends more on Roman than it does on Cena. I'm sure they would do it in a heartbeat on Cena's side of things. But yeah, you know what gets me, guys, is that going back to that Cena Punk exchange last night, Punk seems to be the only guy reminding us that The Rock was stealing souls. No one else is really talking about it that much out of this whole angle, this whole Cena angle. But man, Punk keeping reminding us about this. So I'm curious if, I mean, obviously he's doing that on purpose, but if he's got any kind of role, if Dwayne decides to show back up again in that particular role. George is predicting Mariah will win the NXT championship. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a solid thing. Cody did mention it the night he returned, or the first promo he made after coming back. Oh, I'm sure Triple H doesn't mind. How weird is it, Pretty Richie, that we live in a world now where Punk and Triple H are probably more on the same page than anybody than anybody in this feud. Just thinking back at how long 14 years really is. I'm sure Hunter is just like, yeah, go ahead. Say whatever you want. Call him a bald fraud. I don't care. What you can imagine Triple H feeding him lines. Here, Dwayne really hates it when you say this stuff. Telling him stories back in the Nation versus DX days. Yeah, Rock always hated when I did this. Use that. Just seeing them at catering, like trading ways to hate on DJ. I'm entertaining myself far too much with this scenario, but absolutely. Yeah, man, we got Evolution coming up next month. Great American Bash coming up next month. Saturday night's main event coming up this month. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. So that's gonna be a wild weekend as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Man, yeah. So let's see. Yeah, Seth did mention The Rock once. I guess Punk is probably the most consistent out of everybody, I would say, which is weird because Punk is probably the furthest removed from it out of everybody. Because Cody obviously would have a reason to bring it up. Cena would have a reason to bring it up. And Seth, now being the Money in the Bank winner, kind of going there, he could have a reason to. All right, Richie, I hear you say you got a hot take. Let's hear it, man. Hit me with that hot take. Let's see what you got. Man, I hear that song Legacy in my head so much. I don't really like how they went about the Punk and Cena stuff, especially Punk has been losing for the 5 months of the year and he gets a title shot out of nowhere, but I get it. Oh, Ava and Ricky Saints. Richie, I'm going to put this on the screen because I want to get back to this in a second. Ava has sent Ricky Saints home. Oh, medical update. All right. The match is still on. Chase U off to the side. Okay, so the match is currently still on for Femi and Jasper Troy. But if you look closely at that Sarah Schreiber segment in front of the medical area, you could see Femi doubled over in pain in the background. The Chase U way. All right. All right. Andre Chase giving them a talking to. All right. So the commentator's talking right now. So the Cena Punk thing, I found that compelling because I heard that this match was maybe going to be given to us, and people were already giving their hot takes, trying to expose Punk for agreeing to go to Saudi Arabia after he said things as if he wasn't okay. We're talking about the glamour, as if he isn't able to evolve his thoughts over the course of 15 years. But all right, let's see what Mariah's got to say, or whatever her name is now. There's a very Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie kind of vibe to this. Not all the way timeless Tony Storm, but a little more modern. She's beauty, she's grace, she'll punch you in the face. Actually, I kind of like that. All right, here we go. Blake Monroe. I don't care for it. But you know what? I was dead on. I was dead on about the whole Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie vibe. Blake Monroe. That's gonna take some getting used to. That is gonna take some getting used to. That's it's a Blake Lively Marilyn Monroe thing. Is what I get from it. Lash Legend makes her entrance into the ring. It's not the worst name. It's just such a departure from Mariah May. I can hear the AEW trolls laughing already. And Lash and Ren Sinclair will be going one-on-one when we come back. All right. So here's the thing about Cena Punk, right? First of all, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that matchup, okay? But first and foremost, one, we have to be okay with people's thoughts and positions changing over time. So if Punk really has changed his mind about going and performing in Saudi Arabia, it's freaking okay, guys. Like, it's okay for him to take shots at The Miz while he works for AEW. In retaliation, by the way, he didn't poke that bear. And then mending fences with Triple H and WWE, and then changing his tune. Like, that's okay. That's not hypocrisy. People learn and evolve and change over time. Now, that being said, and that has to do with the amount of time that passed as well. Years passed in between those two things taking place. That being said, I thought it was really clever how they set up the match, because when they had the promo last night, if you'll recall, Punk challenged Cena to a fight right then and there in Phoenix. Cena, and this might be one of the most clever things he's done as a heel, big timed him and said, "No, I'm not wrestling you tonight. If you want to wrestle me, you have to come to Saudi Arabia." So that's like extra heel right there for Cena, because there are those of us who know that about Punk and what he said about WWE doing shows in Saudi Arabia. So he's like, if you're going to be the voice of the fans, if you're going to be the monster to kill the monster, then I'm going to make you do something monstrous, which is go back on your word and fight me in a place you said you'd never go. Or you gave the impression that you'd never go. And I think that's great booking on Cena's part. That being said, I'm not fully believing we're getting that match until I see Cena show up. Okay. Until I see Punk show up, because Punk has got a Jey Uso type problem where he's got beef with too many people. So he could be a spear and a tsunami away from not even making Night of Champions. He could be written off TV for that show and then come back after they get back stateside. That is also a possibility. So we don't know that he's actually wrestling that match until that match happens, until we see backstage segments or Instagram stories of him actually being in Saudi Arabia. So I think my first thought, if you just put, gun to my head and said, Steven, is the match going to happen? I do think the match is going to happen. I think he's evolved in his thinking and his whole promo about being the voice of the fans. And that's the way I kind of think about Saudi Arabia, is there are wicked kingdoms in this world. There are wicked rulers in this world, even within our own country. And I don't want to judge this. And knowing that, like, my children, for instance, were born from another kingdom. They were born from another country. They were born to a place that has wicked rulers. And I have gotten to know people from their kingdom, from their country. And I will not. I'm too old now, and I've lived too much life to judge an entire nation's people based on their leadership. I would not want people judging me based on the leadership in my country either. And so there are thirsty and starving wrestling fans in Saudi Arabia. You see that in the shows. Did you see the way they embraced Sami Zayn the last time he came there? And and how much they love Roman. I mean, how many people they love. So they are absolutely about WWE. And so, like, wrestling can be used, as silly as it is, as silly as this thing is that we all love and share together. It can be used to bring the humanity out in us a little bit more each time. And that's not me standing for WWE. I mean, I would feel the same way of AEW if Tony Khan decided to do a show out there too, and it actually like ingratiated that community and that culture into more more tolerant practices. So we shouldn't run. We should not try to win fights. We should try to win people. And that's a way to win people. As Ren Sinclair is now making her entrance with no quarter catch crew minus Miles Bourne. But what's interesting to me is that Ren and Charlie Dempsey are wearing their no quarter jackets, but Tavion Heights wasn't. And Tavion got a new haircut too. Funny little moment as Ren goes to the hard camera to give her pose, and she checks her back to make sure Lash isn't going to attack her, and then Lash just like look over like, it's okay. Oh, so Kalani is ringside for commentary as well. Nikita should join Fatal Influence. Well, I'll tell you what, I feel the same way about Nikita as I do the rest of those ladies, so it would be a fit for me. So it looks like maybe so Kalani got a lot of trash to talk about Lash. Pretty Richie, now that you broke it down like that, I see the vision now. I was thinking a bit more so winning, losing sort of deal. I didn't think that deep into it. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Cena is trying the hardest with Punk so far to have a deeper story. Now, all that's just off of one promo, right? But at least their history is there. Like, I don't feel like his promo with Randy really executed all that well. Dang, look at Ren Sinclair go. She is just wrenching on those arm bars, and I can't even describe what she just did, but that was dope. I'm telling you, man, Ren Sinclair, people sleep on Ren Sinclair. Like, she's going to have a future. I hope at the right time she gets a good push. She could be a good North American champion. Lash could be a future world champion too. Dang. Huge pump kick there by Lash. Speaking of Blake Monroe, Dossie says her mama named her Mariah May. I'm going to call her Mariah May. Blake Monroe, guys. Now, to be fair, I like the presentation. It's kind of a wink and a nod to the Tony Storm stuff without being a copy paste. It's more Technicolor than it is black and white, but it's still the glamour, you know. So yeah, I think I'll get used to it in time. It's going to be hard for Mariah May. Just rolls right off the tongue, man. It's going to take a minute for me to get used to saying Blake Monroe. Bear hug. Been a while since I've seen a bear hug in a wrestling match. But Lash wrenching that on. And good for Ren. Ren's selling it well, too. They are loud Ren cheerleading chants in the crowd. Oh my gosh. Ren just chopped Lash so hard she hurt her own hand. And now she's double chopping. That first chop reverberated over the whole building. It was wild. Man, tilt-a-whirl head scissors. Ren Sinclair. Oh, DDT by Ren. Reversing a suplex. I think Kalani's going to cost Lash Legend, George. I do think she gets involved. They're working here by the announce table now. Oh, Ren looked for a Hurricane Rana, but Lash pulled her up. But now Ren with an enziguri, double reversals there. It feels like there's a lot that's a lot has occurred tonight, and we're only approaching the halfway point of the show. Wow, high cross body, Lash catches her, fall away slam. Oh, that was a Lash wins. That looked like a finisher that didn't hit all the way. She looked like she swung her around her back like an old swing dance move, but then turned it into like a Samoan drop. That move needs a little more work, I think, but it could work. Not the best, not the best execution, but Lash winning doesn't surprise me. All right, we're getting a profile on Laney Reed. The Southern Sensation. Where's she from? Oh, she was a rodeo champion, huh? She went to Jacksonville State. Track star. Okay. Okay. So we get Laney Reed versus JC Jane. We're getting 3 title matches tonight, y'all. That is and all of them like just kind of, I don't want to say no build. There hasn't been no build. That's not with Jasper Troy and not with well, I guess they've all had build in the way. But yeah, it's like rookie night here at NXT, which is a wild thing to say in NXT. But you got 2 evolves and 1 LFG taking place here tonight. So we're getting that women's title match next, and then we're still going to have the Oba Femi match, and then we're also supposed to have the D'Angelo family take on High Rise as well in a tag match. So yeah, all right. So let's talk Money in the Bank. Everybody raise your hand. Who was a fan of Naomi winning that briefcase? I was very happy to see Naomi win that briefcase. I think Naomi is doing the best work of her career. And I was excited to see that pay off with her. I think about it now, and if Triple H called me tomorrow, was like, hey Steven, just a minute, I want to tell you a story about how The Rock sucks, and then I want to ask you a question. And then I'm like, sure, tell me that story. And then, he tells me the story about how The Rock sucks. And then he's like, what would you do with Naomi? And I would be like, well, Hunter, I'm so glad you asked. The way I would tell that story is now that you mention it. Now I'm about to put my foot in my mouth now because I just realized they have already announced the brackets, I think, for Queen of the Ring. Let me see. I'm just gonna look up those brackets real quick. I know Roxy already qualified, and good for her. She's great. I really like Roxy too. I'm very invested in that as well. Okay. All right, we're okay. Here's what I would do. I would have strap in everybody. I would. Oh, firefighter Jimmy, hey, how you doing? I'm about the fantasy book. You just got in time. I would have Jade Cargill win Queen of the Ring. Listen, I probably have 5 or 6. I probably have 5 or 6 more women I have that are more favorites of mine than Jade, but just ride with me, okay? Jade Cargill wins Queen of the Ring. Jade Cargill takes on Tiffany at SummerSlam. Yes, over Charlotte. I've got thoughts about Charlotte in a second. Jade Cargill beats Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam, and Naomi, Hater of the Year, cashes in on Jade and takes the belt from her. That's what I would do. Actually, I almost, if we weren't doing Queen of the Ring, I actually would have wanted that to play out at Evolution instead. To have Naomi standing tall at the end of Evolution. But since they put Queen of the Ring in here, I want Naomi's cash in, first of all, to be successful, but to also like further that hatred she's got on Jade. That's just something I would like to see. But about Charlotte. So this is gonna sound like I'm hating on Charlotte. I'm not hating on Charlotte. Here's the thing about Charlotte. And I did used to hate on her about this, but Charlotte, and this is not really her fault, I don't think, anymore. I used to treat it like it was, and I think I was wrong, is that Charlotte really only ever gets booked in title feuds. And Charlotte deserves to have non-title feuds. And Naomi, Bianca, and Jade just spent the better part of 6 to 8 months doing that. And it was one of the best things on TV as we see Jasper Troy being interviewed. So Jasper's like, I absolutely guarantee and I'm counting on Obafemi coming out anyway, even if he is hurt. So, no, I think Charlotte deserves a feud or two away from the title. I'm not saying an unimportant feud because Jade, Bianca, Naomi, that was a top tier feud and it was excellent work, right? Just like the whole, like, I know titles ended up getting involved, but like Dominic, Rhea, Liv, like with or without titles, that feud was engaging and intriguing. And so Roman, Punk, Seth, like that wasn't about a title. So anyway, my point is I think Charlotte deserves to be able to kind of sink her teeth into an actual story. And not just not just anything else. So anyways, let's see. So all right. So we've got JC Jane and Fatal Influence entering the ringside area. All right, Laney Reed or JC Jane, who do you guys have? Yes, Pretty Richie, exactly. It's refreshing when top talent can have a feud without a title. My go-to example for that, and I know it's an old one, but you know what? I'm an older guy. I'm an older wrestling fan. Randy Savage and Jake the Snake Roberts. Everyone who was a fan in that era remembers a cobra sinking its teeth into Randy Savage's arm. There wasn't a title in sight for that feud. It was just a solid blood feud. I mean, Hulk Hogan and Earthquake was a non-title feud. Anyway, lots of really good. I mean, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Well, never mind. That started with a title, but Randy Savage and Jake the Snake, solid non-title feud. And when you're good enough, when you're a good enough wrestler and a good enough storyteller, you don't have to have a title to make people want to watch you. And I do think Charlotte's a good enough wrestler. I just think they have been shortchanging her on creative for a long time in that. I think they've booked her a little lazily, and I think she can do more than that. So everybody's long-term goal may be the champion, but to be the champion, but that shouldn't be their identity as a wrestler. All right, I'm just assuming JC retains here. I think the numbers game gets in Laney's favor, but I do feel a little Miles Bourne-ish about this. Like, I think Laney will make a good showing. I guess she was on that show Level Up. I never watched it back in the day, but she got good marks from that show though. Stone Cold versus Bret Hart was great. Yes, absolutely. The '96 Stone Cold Bret Hart, the WrestleMania 13, like those feuds were apart from the belt. Those feuds were not for the title. It honestly really makes me wonder what a feud for those two could have been like for the belt if Bret had stayed. Would have been wild. Anyway, Laney almost got a roll-up pin. Laney is she is trying to make an impact here. She's trying to, go for pins aggressively. I give her respect for that. I cannot tell what's up with her gear though. She's wearing, the typical ladies two-piece outfit, but I can't tell if the bottoms she's wearing are supposed to be like Daisy Dukes. I don't know. It's strange. Who will come out after JC Jane retains? I mean, I'm assuming it's Blake Monroe, right? I have to train myself to say her name, Blake Monroe. Okay. Anyway, NXT going on again, guys. If you're just joining us, our main event tonight is scheduled to be Femi versus Jasper Troy for the NXT title. Nasty clothesline by JC Jane there. But Femi attacked earlier in the day in the parking lot, choke slammed through the windshield of a car by Jasper Troy, and is not 100%. Yeah, no, we all have to practice Blake Monroe together. Blake Monroe. That was so far off from what I was predicting. It's really not a bad name. It's just like, I think we were all assuming either Mariah or May would stick around, and neither one of them did. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That just reminds me of when hearing the story, hearing John Moxley tell the story of being named Dean Ambrose. And it was Dusty Rhodes who named him Dean Ambrose. He's like, "You a rebel, baby. You're like James Dean. You know who James Dean is? That old actor. It's like you got that style about you. You like James Dean. You're gonna be Dean Ambrose, baby." Anyway, I can just imagine, like, if Dusty was still with us, him trying to communicate the name Blake Monroe to Mariah May, because it feels like that same kind of idea, But you know what? I'm going to work really hard to not be sarcastic about that name, because from everything I've read, being in WWE was the dream for Mariah, for Blake Monroe, all this time. So I'm curious how she feels about the name. Again, it's not a bad name. It's not a bad name, but it is. We'll see how well it translates. But yeah, dude, I need to find like a book about Dusty Rhodes. Like, just hearing people tell Dusty stories is just one of the funniest things in the world to me, dude. And I don't know how you guys feel about AI, and I'm not going to try to start any fights or anything, but there is an account on either Instagram or TikTok called Baby Wrestlers, where someone has taken AI and recreated classic wrestling promos with babies in that role, dressed like the wrestlers. And there's multiple Dusty promos, which is funny because Dusty Rhodes, especially in the mid 80s, did kind of look like a fat baby. And so no disrespect to the dream. But seeing the Hard Times promo being done by a baby is hilarious. You Blake Lively, baby. You Marilyn Monroe, baby. Yes, exactly. George asks, if we get Blake Monroe versus JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship, do you think Fallon will betray JC and cost her the title? I do think that the dissolution of Fatal Influence, or at least the breakup between JC and Fallon, will probably happen. at a crucial time. And I could see, here's the thing. I don't know if it would happen during a match with Blake Monroe because they'd probably want Blake to be pretty important, right? Because she's a new acquisition. So I imagine she'll go over clean if she does. A thing happen that leads to that falling out either after the match or something like that, or maybe in a rematch. But I'm just going to go ahead and assume that Blake Monroe gets that title shot at Great American Bash next month. I think they build to that probably. Sophie, I'm not sure why some get to keep and some don't. I mean, obviously they change the names so they can trademark them and make money off them. I imagine the people who keep their names probably do so for one of two reasons. Either as a negotiation tactic, like we'll pay you less, but you can keep your name. Or we'll pay you more, but you take the name we give you. And also, they might also kowtow a little bit to acquiesce, if you will, to maybe some wrestlers who are a little more famous, who already have a little more name value, and keep that name. Like, I imagine they probably thought Jade Cargill might have been more of a marketable name already. I'm trying to think who else has kept their name coming back over. Cody, I mean, well, we already knew who Cody was. But not a lot of, especially AEW transfers. Yeah. So like, I honestly, I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they managed to change the sort. Ethan Page. Yeah. I'm surprised about Ethan Page that they didn't try to change his name, but maybe he took some kind of a pay cut. Sean Spears, I think that's different because he was already in NXT before under a different gimmick name. So he wasn't going to come back as Ty Dillinger because he wasn't going to be the 10 guy anymore, you know? So it is what it is. I mean, George, I don't fully blame you. The match is fine, but I think we need to be honest about this. I don't know that JC Jane is a ratings grabber. I don't mean to be disrespectful to her because I think she's put in so much work. I'm sure she's probably pretty well liked in the locker room and stuff, and she's been a part of NXT for a really long time. But she is someone who screams tag wrestler to me. So her being the champion just feels a little. I feel so much more comfortable just chatting with you guys rather than being fully invested in the match right now. And Lainey Reed, this is just my first time seeing her. And blockbuster by Lainey Reed. She did not get all of it. She kind of fell short. At least she still landed safely. But yeah. Also, Corey Graves has been doing a really good job lately, I think. You know what, George? You know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you guys remember the Midnight Express, but the iteration of the Midnight Express I watched was Beautiful Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane. And Bobby Eaton had a singles run in the early 90s. He was TV champion. He was never a world champion, but that was the most he ever attained as a singles wrestler. He's a really good wrestler, but he didn't have the charisma to be a singles wrestler people wanted to watch. Really, really good in the ring. I'll say that again, but not the charisma to be a singles wrestler. And he was far better known for his tag team wrestling. Midnight Express teamed with Arn Anderson for a while in the Dangerous Alliance, even teamed with Regal for a little while. And he was always much more watchable in those times. Well, I say watchable. He was more successful, I think, in those times. Twisting suplex. Only two. Yeah, I got to say this match totally isn't it for me. I think there's just so much female star power in NXT that JC Jane feels like it's just eating up TV time. And I feel bad saying that. I don't mean it personally. There's just so many more women I'd rather see. Pretty Richie with a question. I wasn't watching around this time really, but how was Rick Steiner as a singles guy? Rick was he was nasty, dude. He was really good. So he wrestled. I know he wrestled like in the UWF, which I didn't watch much, but that's where he came from. It's where Sting came from. Dr. Death Steve Williams came from there. They kind of incorporated into the NWA or Jim Crockett that became WCW, and so Rick Steiner was he was a part of a gimmick that I think would still do well today called the Varsity Club, which was basically spinning discus punch. That's probably it. And it's the numbers game that saves JC Jane again. Kind of like what a lot of us thought. JC Jane's still champion. So Rick Steiner, he was a part of the Varsity Club. And the Varsity Club, the gimmick there was guys who had legitimate collegiate backgrounds as wrestlers in a faction. So could you imagine in the 2000s, like Kurt Angle, Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, and maybe even Brock Lesnar as a faction? Like that was what that was. And so they would come to the ring with singlets. So like Bray Wyatt's dad, Mike Rotundo, IRS, he had wrestled at Syracuse. So he wore like Syracuse colors. He was a TV champion for a while. Rick Steiner with the Michigan singlet, that stuff. They expanded to a few other guys here and there. And now we've got an interruption. More on I love talking Varsity Club though, Bridgie. I will come back to that. Oh, Ava is out with an announcement. Battle Royal, please. 4 matches. Oh, NXT Women's Champion is going to be defending at Evolution. Oh, and the ladies are already out here. I see Lash, I see Lola, I see Zarya, I see Kalani, Thea Hale. So if you can hear, there's going to be 4 Izzy Dames out there, and Jordan Grace is out there. Huh. I wonder if Fallon Henley ends up in one of those matches. That'd be interesting. All right, so 4 singles matches next week. The winner of those 4 fatal 4-way, winner of the fatal 4-way faces JC Jane at Evolution. So there we go. Yeah, so Damian Priest is on Cody's podcast. I'll have to check that out at some point. It's not a bad show, by the way. He's not a bad conversationalist, Cody. Awesome. A and B got to 30,000. That's great. Well, Evolution is coming first, Sophie. NXT's got the best women's division in wrestling, so clearly they're going to have some representation at Evolution, so that makes sense. Anyway, and that's a bigger show. It's just a bigger show than Great American Bash. So they'll probably do a contract signing, I bet, or something for Great American Bash. Anyways, yeah. So, Varsity Club, yeah. So basically, Rick Steiner and Mike Rotunda have a falling out. Rick Steiner turns face, wins the TV title from Mike Rotunda, and anyway, Rick was always just a stiff suplex machine. Like he was a suplex machine before Taz was. He was Suplex City before Brock Lesnar was. Yeah, Rick Steiner. Now they treated him a little. His gimmick was always a little dumb. And so they played off that a little bit. But man, when it was bell time, he just, oh man, he was just a stiff dude. And so then when he brings Scott Steiner into pro wrestling after that, those two are monsters, man. They were just monsters. And I think that's why they were one of my favorite tag teams of all time, the Steiner brothers. Briggs and Inamura crashing out. Oh, and here comes First Class. That's who they're called. Casey Navarro and AJ Francis from TNA. I would love to see Jordan Grace get that shot at Evolution, though. I would love for her to win a title. So one of my predictions this year would come true. I'm 0 for 4, man. She's the only 0 for 3. Her and Bobby Lashley are my only hope, and I don't trust Tony Khan to pull the trigger on Bobby Lashley. Oh, I love that chord. Elijah's here. Get real Scrappy Doo energy from Casey Navarro. More D'Angelo family drama. Luca on a mysterious phone call behind Tony's back. Yeah, man. So so Rick Steiner was a good singles act, but once Scott Steiner came on the scene, like it was just like, I don't know, man. It's hard to describe how over they were, how game changing they were as a tag team, and then when they split up and Scott joined the NWO in '98. Rick, I mean, it just wasn't the same seeing Rick as a singles competitor for me. I wasn't interested in seeing it. Once I had the Steiner brothers, I never wanted the Steiner brothers to break up. That's just me. But I don't know. A lot of people love Big Papa Pump, and I love the Steiner Math promo, and I love all the unhinged insanity we get from Scott Steiner. I really do. But, old school singlet, collegiate style, Suplex City, Steiner brothers doing Doomsday Bulldogs and stuff. Yeah. They were so good together, and they were good apart, but like, it's kind of like, it's probably like how some people feel about the Shield. I imagine some people really, really love the Shield, and those guys are great when they split up too. But when you get to see them back together again, you're like, oh, this is so different. This is so awesome. Shamanika, that's a great question. We haven't seen Dark State had a tag match last week, I believe, but they didn't. They didn't do much. Oh, Steiner Brothers and Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat also a great team. Like, I mean, yeah. Tell you what, man, brothers just brothers can get down in the ring. That's what it is. I mentioned this, I think, last week. When we were talking about round robin tournaments. I'll plug it again though. Starcade 1989 out of Atlanta. It was called Future Shock. They did a tag team. They did both a singles and a tag team round robin tournament, and that's what the whole pay-per-view was. The singles round robin tournament was Sting, Ric Flair, Lex Luger, and the Great Muta, and then the tag team tournament was the Samoan SWAT team, which is the Head Shrinkers, Rikishi, Fatu and Samu, the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, the Steiners, Rick and Scott, and Doom, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. And they just tore each other up, man, for a round robin tournament all night. And it was a lot of fun to watch. It didn't really go anywhere after that. It was just kind of a one night only thing. And some, I will say this, a couple, because they were booked, because the tournament is being booked, it's a booked tournament. It's all the work, right? A couple of the finishes were a little unsatisfying for me, but still, looking back now, like 35 years later, it's so cool to go back and see all those teams and all those individuals share the ring together in one night. It's really cool. So yeah, I kind of have a soft spot for that show, even though I might not have been as huge of a fan of it back then, because really there were only like 8 talents on the on the whole show that night. And back then I would have been like, oh, but what about these guys? And those guys get left off the show. But I still think it was a great little moment in time for that. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, no word on Dark State tonight though, Shimonica. They really haven't. I wonder if they'll show up in this tag match against the family and High Rise. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so we are still working our way up to super chat status. I've got some more videos I want to make. I've got a couple of ideas coming down the pike. And it's just been a busy season in the Mark by Wrestling household. We've had a lot of celebrations this summer, which of course, we're happy to do. But that also kind of, creates some delays in content sometimes. So I did have another 2K tournament I played earlier this afternoon, the WCW tag titles, actually, with a bonus match at the end because I didn't like the finish, brother. And I think I'm going to go more modern, maybe more Attitude Era. I actually have an idea, maybe for later this week, to go live and play 2K and do a European title tournament and get some of the European wrestlers on the 2K roster and try to book that tournament. Catch Crew backstage talking to Miles. Okay. Oh, Javon Evans has just crashed the party with Miles and NQCC. Charles, why you always holding it down where you just let Miles go? Right to the bottom, why you leaving it? None of this is your business. Brent, take on you both still with me, right? Charlie, see, I was thinking, I know what you were thinking. So you're not even thinking the 3 of us with the NGCC. Always and forever, we're going to rule NXT. That's what you were thinking. Come on. Now Tavion Heights dipping his toe in the water to try to take on Charlie Dempsey, but Charlie's not hearing it yet. I know, Richie. Like, I don't know. There's Mr. Iguana. I cannot believe how over Mr. Iguana was. You're right. I don't know. I don't know what Javon's. I think Javon absolutely has the capacity to be a Jey Uso type in the fact that he's probably more lovable in the chase than he is as the champion. He does kind of have that vibe a little bit, but yeah, man, all the love from Mr. Iguana though, and Chad Gable and Vikingo, man. What? Hey, Mr. Iguana is in the house. Awesome. Along with Wagner Jr. I can't remember the last time I saw someone get over that fast with a WWE crowd than Mr. Iguana. Man, it's so pro wrestling, man. It's just what it is. All right. High Rise is in the house. All right. Who do you guys have? The family or High Rise? I feel like High Rise is going to take this one. I think the having distrust in your family will always come back to bite you. So I don't necessarily believe that that's going to work out for Tony and Luca. Also, we don't know where Stax is. Also, we don't know where Rizzo is, do we? Like, she hasn't shown up, right? She was still in hiding, right? Hmm. Let's see. Also, if you guys didn't welcome B to the chat, so good to see you, B. So glad you're here. Hope you guys are doing well. B, you feeling okay? I know you were feeling a little under the weather over the weekend. Feeling any better today? Oh, nice knee by Luca there. Wow. Tony refusing to tag in. That's interesting. I feel like Tony's paranoia is getting the best of him. I'm starting to believe now that maybe Luca might be innocent and Tony is gonna play himself here. I wonder if that is the case because we haven't seen Rizzo, and maybe that's who he's talking to, just checking in on her. But I don't know. All right, now Tony tags in. There's definite trust issues going on. Okay, I'm glad to hear you're feeling better, B. All right, Tony in control. Tyson getting Tony into the corner. And here comes Tyreek. Following up more stomps in the corner. Wesley out there looking like a tennis coach. Breaking news. I think they were supposed to have a graphic come up on the screen because I just heard a sound effect, but they just announced it through commentary. Blake Monroe signing her contract next week. So the Glamour will be live in the NXT arena. Yeah, too much. Yeah, they are not on the same page. The family here tonight. And Tyson and Tyreek just in control of this match. Okay, Tony tags into Luca now. Looking like he's wearing some of Seth Rollins' old pants. House of Fire, but crowd, honestly, not popping a whole lot for the family. I don't know if they're feeling paranoid the same way Tony was, or they're just not fully into this. But man, Luca is going off though. Now Luca tags Tony, but Tony wasn't receiving it. Bam. Tony needs to lock in, dog. Like, I mean, Luca's out here dropping folks. Tony's out here in his feelings. This is the story. You know what? Their storytelling with the family has always been pretty well executed. You know, for wrestling. I enjoy that. But yeah, seems like the crowd's starting to warm to this match at least. Man. All right. They seem to be working a little bit more in tandem, begrudgingly. Oh, Luca shoves Tony out of the way to take a bullet for him. What's crazy, I don't know if you guys are in picture, but I'm still seeing, is that Luca actually shoved Tony out of the way to take a shot for him to save him. And Tony still looks boo-boo faced about it. It's strange. So Tony is obviously suspicious of things, but Luca has not wrestled at all like someone you can't trust in this match. He's been a consummate partner right here. So we'll see what happens. But because of that, High Rise has mostly controlled this match. And that could be it. Booker, the former tag team specialist he is sitting here dogging Tony on commentary too. Because like after a big splash from Tyson, Tony didn't even try to go in and break up the pin. And Booker's sitting here screaming, "Get in that ring, Tony, get in that ring. What the hell?" just sitting there losing it. Man, I have missed Booker's personality ever since we lost Stephanie Vaquer from NXT. He's not quite found his wheelhouse again now that he's lost her, and he's still with Trick, but chop. And choke slam. Tony tried to come in there, but he didn't come in until like 2.5. I'm telling you, Tony is acting more like a heel than Luca right now. This reminds me of, here's another old reference, but WrestleMania 5 was the breakup of Strikeforce, Tito Santana and Rick Martel. They were facing the Brain Busters then, former Horsemen, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. And one miscommunication between Tito and Rick. And then Rick Martel got boo-boo face for the rest of the match and just bounced and just left the ring and left Tito to be double teamed by the Brainbusters for the rest of the match. And then Rick went on to become the model, Rick Martel. But yeah, just getting too far in your feelings, causing a heel turn. Oh, shoulder breaker. Solid shoulder breaker by Tyreek. Tyreek is jacked, dude. Tyson and Tyreek are both pretty jacked. Let's see. Sophie Duffy, what are your thoughts on what Triple H said at the press conference? I'm assuming you're talking about R-Truth. You know, I didn't actually watch it. I've just heard people quote it. So I don't know how Triple H said it when he was like a little bit about like, oh, it's part of the show, or are you enjoying the show? To a degree, I think he might have meant that sarcastically, like, hey, you know, the old Vince McMahon new generation quote of anything can happen in the WWF. In one degree, he might have meant that, oh man, like a twisting code breaker. Luca crawling to Tony to try to get a tag. Let's see if we get a Strikeforce situation. But Tony is begging for the tag. Oh, he makes it. All right, here comes the hot tag for Tony D'Angelo. Ultimately, I know a lot of people criticize Triple H for like, are you claiming that this is a work? And a lot of people took that to mean that it was a work, even though Truth himself said that it wasn't. It's great. Tony gives a great spine buster, by the way. It's one of the best. Oh, Stax is here. Stax is here with a crowbar. And he catches him, brings Stax in the ring. Crowbar is down. Oh, no. Oh, no. I know where this is going. Lucas picked up the crowbar. And it's just Luca and Tony in the ring. Is he going to hit him? Tony thinks Luca was going to hit him with the crowbar. Now Tony is convinced that Luca is turned against him. And he's been hit from behind by Tyreek. Tagged in Tyson. That's it. Finisher on Tony. That's going to be it. High Rise. Yep, High Rise wins. Tony's own paranoia gets him. So anyway, back to Truth and Triple H. I 100% believe that they thought they could get away with cutting R-Truth to save money. They figured he was old. They figured they're paying him too much. They figured like his course had been run. And they did not anticipate like 15 million impressions on Twitter and the We Want Truth chants and the whole locker room, not only inside WWE, but like AEW, TNA, ECW, like all these people pouring out their love for R-Truth. So it backfired, absolutely backfired on WWE. And after that, I think they realized their mistake and decided to make it right. And I think Triple H said what he said because he doesn't want to publicize the fact of he doesn't want to go public and say, hey, we made the wrong call. We heard the fans and we decided to act accordingly with what the fans want. Because if he does that, then every time Carlito or Caden Carter or Dakota Kai or, the Alex Rileys of the world, anytime they get released, if some hashtag can get trending, they're going to keep pushing that to make that happen. And I don't think they want to give the fans the idea that they can affect the booking of WWE to that degree, but they made an exception for Truth because of how universally beloved he is everywhere from everyone. And they needed to spin it. And so that's why I think Triple H said what he said. Okay. So next week we getting Trick in First Class against Elijah and Briggs and Amora. All right. Well, here's 3 chains here. Jasper Troy. The Judgment Day Clubhouse does look different without. Oh, Oba Femi's got the ribs taped up, Jey Uso style. Could we get? I know they not copy pasting after last night with which by the way, the whole storytelling of that match, of Gunther and Jay. Gunther ripping off Jay's shirt to expose the taped up ribs was just a great bit of storytelling. Absolutely loved that. Absolutely loved it. Dawsey said, I don't think Booker can top the Devil's Kiss. Yeah, I think you might be right about that. Honestly, Sophie, I don't think Carlito's that worried about it. I think I loved Carlito's release tweet. That is a self-aware man who knew that he didn't have to do much and collected a paycheck, and he's already wrestling in Puerto Rico again now. So I think he's okay. Yeah, no, if they hadn't done the chants, they wouldn't have brought Truth back. I don't believe this was a case of long-term booking at all. I think they were ready to let go of him and they were going to be done with him. And then they saw this backlash and decided to capitalize on it. And that's that. Booker might get his personality back with Blake Monroe. It's possible. Although, I don't know. Never mind. I don't know if I should say what I'm thinking there. But there's a few differences between Stephanie and Blake, excuse me, that I'm sure Booker will be respectful, but I don't know that we'll get peak Booker with Blake Monroe. I'm not going to try to project on him, but I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. We'll see. Firefighter Jimmy, what do you got to say? Saying that happened because of the fact Jay was hurt, plus they wanted title match between Gunther and Goldberg. The title change? Yeah, Sophie, I don't believe they had a plan to bring R-Truth back. I don't think that was ever part of their plan. I think they pivoted, I don't think that was ever part of the plan. Well, and Richie, you're right. Carlito would know the deal, right? Because Carlito is kind of the Puerto Rican Cody Rhodes. His dad was Carlos Colon, who was like the Dusty of Puerto Rico. So like that dude came up in the business. So like he absolutely knows what the deal is. So I think that's one reason why he's always, I mean, cool is the word we would use, right? But he always seems so unflappable to me. Like I remember when their dad was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he and Primo, I think it was when Carlito had been gone for a while, right? For a while. And they brought him back to help induct Carlos Colon into the Hall of Fame. And he was like, no F's given. And it's like he wasn't disrespectful, but he clearly didn't see the need to kiss any butt while he was up there. And he was just like, oh, whatever. And he's like, what are they going to do? Fire me again? Like, just this kind of stuff. And like, yeah, I think he's so content in who he is in his career and as a performer. That's one of those things. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, that's the only thing you guys talking about Goldberg is the only thing that gives me concern about Gunther winning the title. I have only wanted, but and because I know like Goldberg wants his, final match or whatever. And honestly, I just feel like, dude, buy your kid a Peacock subscription. Let him watch your old stuff, dude. I don't need Goldberg on my TV again. And so the only Goldberg I would want to see is if he like gave like whoever the Heath Slater of today is a spear in an interview segment, or if he gets dog walked in the ring, if he does all this pomp and circumstance about you're next and all this stuff and gets in the ring with Gunther, and Gunther's like, you're old, you're slow, I'm gonna dismantle you. And if they actually, but I don't think Goldberg's humble enough to do that. And I'm not saying he should be humble enough to do that either, but because I can understand if you want to do the work of coming back and all the work of coming back when you're his age and your body breaks down and it's hard to get into ring shape. I'm sure he probably want to win, but there she is. Blake Monroe signs her contract next Tuesday. Blake Monroe. All right, well, let's get used to it, guys. Let's get used to it together. Blake Monroe. Anyway, so yeah, all right. Here's our Evolution Eliminator matches. Oh, Lola Vice against Jordan Grace. Zarya and Izzy Dame, Lash Legend, Kalani Jordan, Thea Hale versus Jada Parker. Give me Kalani, Jada, Jordan, and I forgot who the fourth one was already. And then that six-man NXT TNA match. First Class and Trick versus Elijah and Briggs and Amura. Oh, yeah, here's the replay. Gosh. Oba hit that windshield hard, dude. That was rough. Absolutely rough. And here comes Jasper Troy's entrance. And so we're going to see what we get. This is our main event, guys. I mean, even with an injury, I feel like the safe money is on the ruler. On Oba Femi, but we're about to see what kind of match we get out of these two guys tonight. Jasper coming out with the chains. Oh, it is 2 chains. I guess I could call him 2 chains. George says Jordan, Kalani, Zarya, and Thea Hale. Not bad. Not bad. All right, here comes the ruler, everybody. Dossie Chatham, this is worth putting on the screen, everybody. Sophie, sorry. I'm willing to give Goldberg the championship match if he can pronounce Asuka's name correctly. Well said. Let's see. Man, Oba's not even hardly strutting. He's selling the pain that much. Chance for Oba. Coming loud from the crowd. All right. Very curious to see how he wrestles hurt. We're not used to seeing the NXT champion hurt. So we'll see where we go from here. We have never seen Femi with that sort of look on his face. With left arms, as they make it sprints. All right, we all still feel like Oba's going to find a way to retain tonight. We're getting the entrance and everything, the announcement. One fall. Dude, Oba's still holding his ribs too. Richie is solid, man. Call Jay. Jay's probably still a little salty from last night. Man, DDP wore rib tape for like a year and a half. So much so in the 90s that when the WCW NWO Revenge game came out, his character had rib tape on. It's like, Paige, come on, dude. You don't have to sell it for that long, dog. Yeah, back then you still had 4 attires you could wear from, but his default attire was just him and jeans. And dude, nobody loved the gimmick more than DDP. You hear all the other wrestlers say it. In the early 90s, he was a manager, and he would come down to the ring with a cigar, sunglasses, a fringe leather jacket, and something else. It's earrings, I think, or whatever. And like he was the epitome of do too much. Man, Jasper attacking the ribs right away. I'm going to tell you right now, I would be shocked as all get out if Oba Femi loses this match. Injured ribs and everything. I would be flabbergasted. Like for WWE to, it's one thing to have Stephanie Vaquer lose to JC Jane, who has a numbers advantage, and JC was a veteran of NXT, but this dude like just got here and is unproven. It would be nuts, absolutely nuts. The only scenario I see Oba Femi dropping this title for is if he is the mystery man on Raw next Monday for the King of the Ring tournament. Nothing else. Or unless he's got some kind of personal issue and has to take time off or something like that, which we all hope and pray that's never the case for anybody. But, oh man. Hanging suplex, stalling suplex by Jasper Troy. Oba is selling, dude. Oba is in trouble. Honestly, if Jasper Troy wins this match, you might see less shock out of me and more excitement because I'm going to be convinced that we're getting Oba on the main roster. Yeah. Oh no, I can't see Jasper Troy as NXT champion either. Especially not now. Like, it's not that he doesn't have what it takes, but he's so much a rookie and he's so a version of Oba Femi himself. It would be like, what would it be like? It'd be like if Miz was champion and then he dropped the title to Ethan Page. Like, it just, oh my gosh, the rope just snapped off. Is that for real? Was that gimmicked or did that? I think it was probably gimmicked, but Jasper Troy just slammed Femi into the corner, and the middle turnbuckle just snapped off. And it is so. Here's the question, and there's multiple referees coming down now. They're working to try to put the turnbuckle back on, but Jasper Troy is still going. Here's the question: will they just call? I mean, he's still going for a cover. The match is still happening. Are they like? They would call it a no contest if the ring broke down, I guess. But yeah. Okay. Well, Justin just introduced something into the chat. The only way Jasper is winning is if the title is if Dark State gets involved. If Jasper turns out to be a part of Dark State, then we've got something happening. But I still don't believe it. But that would be some nasty work. Yeah, that hit was just so shocking. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, man, he's making this is such an old reference for you guys, but Jasper Troy is making Femi look like Ricky Morton, Ricky Steamboat, Jeff Hardy, just writhing around in pain nonstop. I mentioned DDP with his broke ribs for like 2 years. Like, Oba has never convincingly looked like what they called the babyface in peril, but he is tonight. If anything, it's like Oba is almost working on his craft a little bit here tonight, showing himself being weak. And I don't think that'll happen too much in his career, but he's showing that he can do it. I'm actually really impressed in how believable Oba seems to be outpowered right now. It feels, you know what this feels like? This feels like the first time I saw The Undertaker fight Kane. When you've got The Undertaker, who's The Undertaker? Like, you don't beat The Undertaker. And Kane just decimated him. Even though that first WrestleMania match he lost. But this feels like Kane beating on The Undertaker for the first time. Yeah. Man. Yeah, so Oba's going to have to do something to turn the tables here. He can't even do a hip toss. He's either going to have to like get a sneak win, or he's going to have to do something crazy just to change the tide of this match, change the momentum. Oh my gosh. Dropped a so they were on the apron just now, and Jasper Troy picked Oba up on a back suplex and just jumped to the floor and dropped his back right on the apron. And Oba kicks at it too. Man. Yeah, this is so strange. You know what? I'm going to give one more comparison. Do y'all remember? Everybody seen Black Panther in the crowd? Anybody seen Black Panther fans? This is like seeing Killmonger beat up T'Challa. And I'm sorry for all the Black Panther references I make about Femi, but I'm waiting for Jasper to be like, "Is this your king? Is this your king?" Like, because this is like what we're watching right now. It's nuts. Like, so, and that's kind of the point too I'm trying to make is that, okay, Oba's starting to fire up slowly. Got a clothesline in, picking up. Okay, got a suplex. He's getting that adrenaline up. Uh-oh. Wow. Just squashed Oba's momentum there. Oh, but Oba caught him with a spine buster. 2 count. Jasper kicks out. But yeah, the story of this match to me has not really, in commentary, as they should, is trying to put over Jasper Troy as a monster. But I will say a level underneath that, what is making this match special is Obafemi demonstrating that he can sell. He's been doing a really good job of selling this whole match. He was even selling good earlier in the night when he was not at the forefront of the camera. He was in the background of a shot, still selling. So Oba's got what it takes, man. He's going to be just fine on the main roster, I think. It's just all about who he gets matched up against and paired with. Man. Choke slam. That's the move that put him through the windshield. Could that be it? Just 2. Jasper starting to get frustrated. Yeah. I mean, listen, you can't have Goldberg 24/7 and a dominant champion. Oh no, my stream is pausing. All right. I'm waiting for it to come back. All right, we're back. All right, Femi counters. He's getting reversed. He gets backdropped. I thought he was going for the power bomb there. Now Oba's reversing and a launching back suplex. All right. Oba is in pain, but he's firing up off the ropes. Oh, we got caught in a black hole slam. Jasper can't make the cover, though. They're both down. He's reaching, just trying to reach and cover him just with one hand, but he can't get there. 1, 2, and that's a 2.9. That is what we call a visual pin, or he definitely had Obafemi down long enough to win that match, but he couldn't make the cover. Now he's climbing the ropes. Are we gonna get a Vader bomb? Vader bomb. Oh, caught the knees. Obafemi's up. How much does he have left in the tank? Clothesline. They both go outside. But Obafemi getting up, and he's dragging Jasper. Holy cow. Oba just launched Jasper Troy into the corner and collapsed multiple barricades. Oh, my goodness. All right, Oba's back in, and the crowd is on their feet, dude. Oh, he's got him lined up. Here we go. Boom. Powerbomb, pop-up powerbomb. That should do it. What? That absolutely looks like a 3, and the ref is saying his shoulder was up. I legit didn't see it. I didn't see his shoulder up. I don't know if Jasper forgot to get his shoulder up or if it was really that slight. Man, he got some twice. A second power bomb. And now that time it does it. What a strange finish. But yeah, it takes 2 consecutive finishers for Oba to retain. Good match. I mean, that was a great demonstration of Obafemi's ability to be a complete package as a wrestler. And that last powerbomb, he got him all the way up. This match absolutely felt like WrestleMania 14 Undertaker versus Kane. If you'll remember, Undertaker had to give 3 tombstones to Kane to put him down for that match. And that was that was back when you weren't giving multiple finishers to win a match. That was unheard of. But Oba is still on top. Jasper Troy makes a big impression. Obafemi does as well. Great match all around. And an impressive overall showing by the rookies coming in to visit tonight. So, we had Sean Legacy taking on Ethan Page. We had Laney Reed, is that her name? Lainey Reed, taking on JC Jane, and of course Jasper Troy with Femi. So yeah, drop your ratings in the chat. I see some of you are already. Great stuff. And we'll be posting the Mark moment on the channel in our post section later on tonight after we're done with the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Keep those ratings coming in. George giving it a solid 8.5. Justin Allen Crane 10 out of 10 is just too. Oh, yes. And then Anthony 8 out of 10. Pretty Richie 8 out of 10. Yeah, I think 8 out of 10 is a good number for it because the title match is delivered. The women's title was a little. I mean, we talked a bit about JC Jane tonight and what we feel like is lacking a little bit there. And then we had, I think the advertised title matches, the North American title match and the NXT title match, were both great stuff, both really good matches, and yeah, we now have a name for the glamorous one, Blake Monroe. So let's all be practicing that throughout the week. So we're prepared next week when she shows up for her contract signing. It took us a while to get Ricky Saints off the tongue, but we did it. And so I think we can do the same for Blake Monroe, and maybe Booker T will get smitten with her. We'll find out. And also, we've got 4 women's matches next week to narrow down the next contender for JC Jane's NXT title. If you want to keep calling her Mariah May, it's okay. I will not correct you. I'm going to try to call her Blake Monroe. I'll see what I can do. Give it up. Yes. Give it up for Blake Monroe, baby. The glamorous one, baby. Yes. We're going to give it a title because Diamond's her girl's best friend, baby. She's going to hit you with that 7-year itch, baby. Anyway, I don't know a ton of Marilyn Monroe references, but if she sings Happy Birthday at any point, I'm done. Absolutely done. And if they, you know what if they give her like the dry ice smoke, like how when Edge would come out, they had the big pillars of smoke or whatever. If she comes out like Marilyn Monroe with like the skirt blowing in the wind, I mean, I'm probably not going to do anything about it, but I am going to be mildly annoyed, I think. That feels like the kind of thing Vince would do, to be honest. I hopefully Sean will do it, but we'll just have to see what happens when she arrives next week. That she does have a and I'll reiterate this again because Timeless Tony Storm has the old Hollywood, the black and white, kind of gimmick, the classic Hollywood look, and this seems to be a kind of 60s Technicolor kind of Hollywood look that you would have seen in classic TV shows. Your I Love Lucy's, your Bewitched, your I Dream of Genies. Those the colorized versions of those things. So she seems to be, at least her promos seem to be in that vein. So I'm curious how that presentation will look. See if it gets any. We'll see if it gets any kind of additional, zhuzh, as it were. So anyways, I appreciate you guys rocking with me tonight. And I will get you guys in the chat again next week, and keep an eye on the channel for more events coming. Gonna have more 2K shots, and I'm also going to be working on a few more videos to put on really soon. So in the meantime, you guys take care of yourselves. Don't forget to be a mark, and don't be ashamed of being one, because we say this all the time. It is our mantra at Marked by Wrestling that being a mark means you believe, and believing just makes wrestling better. So don't forget to respect each other and have a great time. And I will see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. And if I don't see you with A and B, I will see you on Tuesday. So you guys take care.